Here we are on Melbourne Avenue. Melbourne Avenue, Cambodian Embassy. Coming up here on the left. Doesn't really look like much. Kingdom of Cambodia. Heading down towards State Circle. The road up to the ministerial wing of Parliament House. Turn left and head down towards the lodge. Some of the new housing that's gone up here, apartments, top end, high end in the last say 10-15 years. We're going to keep walking down here past the Turkish embassy, past the South African embassy, down that way. The construction site of the construction site of the new Russian embassy, and then we're going to head up towards Parliament House. So there's two houses, of the old houses that could be bowled over and converted into apartments. 2 of them left. Geez, these properties will be worth a fortune. Look at that one. Lovely. So the Prime Minister's Lodge just over there, behind those trees, those shrubs. The residence of the Prime Minister when he's in Canberra. Of course, there's another one up in Sydney, Burley House. The current Prime Minister spends most of his time there because he's a Sydney boy. Right, bit of a gap in the traffic. Get moving. So this is the bridges we're going under Adelaide Avenue, dual carriageway, heads from the city down to Woden. Embassy of Turkey over there. That's only quite new. Say again, maybe 15 years old. So the names of the streets that come off State Circle, the road that runs around Parliament House, those streets are named after the capital cities. Interesting story about the other side of the circle, but you know, Perth, I think behind is obviously Adelaide, Melbourne, Hobart. Sydney is way around. Darwin Place will be the next one we get to after this one. So the American Embassy's up the back there behind the Turks. South Africa. Gosh, I think it might be Egypt and Belgium. Egypt and France. Egypt and France. Anyway, this is the most effed up piece of roadwork I've ever seen. Get past without an incident. Anyway, South Africa, quite a nice embassy. The Russians are building on a site behind this embassy here. Used to be the location of the permanent anti-apartheid protest, well, virtually permanent in the years that I've been in Canberra, the 70s and the 80s. Certainly, crikey, so they're merging here. Everyone's got to come to a stop. Going. Can't see Parliament House from here over on the right because of all the bush. There's another little road in the middle of all of that. Rhodes Place. Christ. South African Embassy is on Rhodes Place. I hadn't realised that. G'day. Might get it going. At least it's not the Zimbabwean Embassy. Rightio. So still a little bit foggy around in parts. So here is the old used to be Commonwealth Police security box, South African High Commission. Some bloke coming out. was told the other day that this house down the end here is actually a private residence. Well, good luck to you anyway. That's the South African Embassy. That's pretty nice. Casey House. I wonder if that's named after R.G. Casey. I think a former Secretary for Foreign Affairs. Deliveries and visitors, please phone the office. Doesn't look very private residence-ish. Flagpole out the front. I wonder what it was used for originally. Don't know. And this is where the Russians are building their thing, their new pile. They've been down on Canberra Avenue, another one of the spokes that comes off State Circle. They've been on Canberra Avenue, gosh, forever. It's probably a long-term project to move in over here. Parliament House right in front. Just see the top of the flagpole, everything obscured by that forest cover, those tree cover. Let's keep going down here. Yeah, I ride my bike down here a bit. Sometimes I see people working on the embassy. Sometimes there are people there. Sometimes there's no one there. People working down there. It's a bit odd. As I recall, there's a tunnel here that goes through on a bike path that heads up to Parliament House. Let's go and check that out. That's the Chinese residential compound over there on the other side of the Russian embassy building site. There's some progress being made there. More than I thought. Whoa. Some argy-bargy down there. Here we go. That bike path right there. Bloody long grass. Glad there are no, glad it's getting cool. Wouldn't want to walk through there in summer. I tell you what. Here we go. Tunnel under State Avenue. It's only 8:50 in the morning. Public service rush still on up there. Wonder what. It's well maintained. I hope they maintain these things well for people who are working up at Parliament House and have to walk home or walk to their cars or ride home at night. Now, I'm not sure about how this goes here. At all. Actually, it's been years since I've been down here. I'm sure it's a black. I remember driving a car through here once. was a while ago. Yeah, I think it was a black road all the way, tarred road all the way to the top, looking for another tunnel. There it is. So here we are between State Circle and the inner road around Parliament House, the extension of Adelaide Avenue that brings it down to Commonwealth Avenue. So this is an underutilised bit of land down here, if ever I saw one. Let's just keep going. I think this brings us up somewhere near the tennis courts at Parliament House. It's my recollection. It's been a long time since I've been up here though. Haven't lived in this area for 20 odd years. Yeah, so this is just the southbound traffic. So there's two lanes, one bridge. Everyone, heading northbound in a clockwise fashion around the circle. What's this all about up here? Capital Circle. Opened by Ralph Hunt. Oh, I know his kid. I was at school with him. Ralph. He was eventually the Deputy Prime Minister, leader of the National Party at some point. Maybe in the Fraser years, up until between 75 and 83. Anyway, that was interesting. 1971, 3rd of August. Okay. It's all pretty steep here. Look at that lawn. Yeah, about 25-degree angle. I wonder if I could walk up there. Better not, it's probably some bloody narc up there. Okay, Capital Circle. There's the traffic whizzing by. There's no pedestrian traffic on that road. Well, not encouraged. There you go. Right. If you live in Canberra, you're well used to this native vegetation. Personally, I'd knock it over and replace it with European trees. It's likely to be set on fire in the summer. So we're slowly climbing up towards the Senate side, up towards the Senate side of Parliament House. That's all changed a lot in the last 20 years too, those arrangements up there. It's now a one-way road think this is the tennis courts up ahead. Parliamentary tennis courts. That's the way to the front of Parliament House. We don't want to go there. Okay, so we're not that far from the road. There's the road up there. Just keep going along here. I think it might be safer. It's a pretty busy time up here. I think the budget's coming down tomorrow. Big tradition with budgets. You know, the lockup, the massive drunken party that the Treasury officials have afterwards. I can remember one year this bloke from Treasury I know was ottering down the stairs at this pub in Kingston. It was hilarious. He busted his ribs. Exercise equipment. Well, you know, the story goes he broke his ribs. Who knows? Yeah, wouldn't be a good look to be seen playing tennis today with everything happening. Still not a bad tennis court. Much closer to it now. I think that's the exits where the vehicles come out at on the Senate side. Sort of, I may as well just go up. Not too sure how far this track will take me. I can't say I've ever walked this track before. I mean, I've worked for almost 3 decades in this area. Never been for a walk around here. It's actually a very long way from anywhere. So that's it, Senate side. Bit of a droopy flag today. Just keep going, I think. Street. I was happy doing some videoing one day, lunchtime, years ago, before the big barriers went up. Just see the barriers from here. I'll try and get a better shot later. Barriers that stop people from getting to the roof, because from the roof is Parliament House. Up there, there's access down into the area quite close to the Senate and the House of Representatives. There's also big windows up there, like skylights over each of the chambers, and so they've blocked off access, which is fair enough. Bollards everywhere. Bit of a shame, actually. Just cross back over. So here is beginning of Capital Circle. It's called Parliament Drive. I didn't even know that, right? Parliament Drive, there you go. So those guys there on the right are heading north. The other traffic on the left hand side is heading south, directly past the lodge. You see the lodge. Just in there, that creamy fence on the left-hand side. In that area there, we've got quite a bit happening. There's the Philippines Embassy, then the Thai Embassy, then the Japanese Embassy. And in there somewhere, we've got the Turkish Embassy and the Indian Embassy. A lot happening, you just can't see it. Anyway, so there it's the security barrier, and there's all around Parliament House now. And I thought it was to stop people from getting up into the barrier, into the area near the elevator that takes you down to the Senate and House of Reps chambers, and the skylights that basically you can, if they were clean, you could look through and see the members below. I think they were tempered or something like that to stop shenanigans, but now no one's getting up there. So there's actually two barriers I can see there. One right in front, perspex on the side, looks pretty high, and then the second one right up on top. So here's the Australian Federal Police up ahead. Car parks hidden in on the side here on the right, full at this hour, busy time. Probably protective services, part of the AFP, still drive around in AFP badged vehicles, but they're not, not part of the federal police that go around, sworn officers arresting people, transferring from the Canberra police force to the federal one, where they're looking after federal crimes occurring all over the country. Okay, back down to Melbourne Avenue. Look at what time it is. Just for a bit. Alright. Next appointment in 15 minutes, just enough time to get there. Often just protests down here, nothing on today. There are no serious COVID restrictions on at the moment to stop people from protesting. I didn't see any when I arrived. Often, refugees, environmental issues. Nobody protesting about lockdowns because, the federal government isn't really responsible for the domestic lockdowns. That's more the states, and you think maybe people be whinging about the flight ban on India or the problems people have got getting back, but I don't see it. So this has seemed to be a much more effective place to protest down here. So there we go. Turkish embassy down below, American embassy up the top. It's big. Some hill there. Activity for another day, go check that out. Have a look over here. Southbound traffic there. Huge bit of land in here though, underutilised completely. So what do we got here? hardly read it. Heart of the National Capital. Yeah, explaining the layout of the roads. Melbourne right behind us. Adelaide, Perth, Darwin. Darwin? Okay, we didn't quite get to Darwin. It was just beyond the Russian embassy. That's the two arms of the parliamentary triangle here, which I think are Commonwealth Avenue and Kings Avenue. Here's the lake. I don't know if you can see this. Here's the lake. Commonwealth Avenue, Kings Avenue. This is the one to the city. Down to Woden. Hobart. Behind that way. Sydney, Brisbane. Yeah, okay. But I think this is based on the original plan because it doesn't explain where Canberra Avenue is. This is all a bit confusing actually. Brisbane, Sydney, Hobart, then there's I don't know what the explanation is for this, but this, looking at this faded map a bit closer, it is actually the original Walter Burley Griffin plan. Seems to not have been followed exactly. I think what they're missing here is the space they left for Wellington Avenue. The Kiwis didn't sign up to the Federation, then became Canberra Avenue. Not a particularly useful map for understanding how things work now. Let's keep going down here. So we're between two roads, fairly heavy traffic on the one to the left, Capital Circle. More of that new housing on the left. I can see Hobart Avenue from here, and the street beyond that, further to the left, is Canberra Avenue, which doesn't appear on that map back there. So I think that was a bit of a representation of what the original Canberra plan showed, and things have obviously changed a bit since then. Since when was it? Oh, 1910s, wasn't it? 1920s, when that plan was. They had the competition, and Walter Burley Griffin won the contest. I'm just going to head straight down here, try and sneak across this road without getting run over by some mug. Native vegetation, shit everywhere. Right, let's go. So we can get a bit further across here, getting bowled over. Okay, red light, good time to bowl over. All clear. I mean, I'd hate to think what these places are worth. Had a friend living down here. He always liked to live it up. Capitol Hill. A quick look in here. It is a nice time of the year. seem to be a way through. Let's just have a quick look. No. Strange security here. I guess this would be advisors, diplomats, senior bureaucrats, wealthy retirees. No one else could afford to live in places like this. No one with a proper job. There we go. This is Melbourne Avenue, which runs all the way, well, gradual slope up there. It's maybe 800 metres long, I'm not sure, maybe a bit longer actually. Some of the nicest properties in Canberra are on this street. But again, it's a bit noisy. Then it leads to the road that heads up the summit to to Red Hill. Red Hill. Oh, I've gone to a lot of trouble here to put the sprinklers in. Often you see people actually catching a bus here. Cut over.